Good morning and happy Tuesday to you all. My name's Alex, and this is the LinkedIn Lead Generation Masterclass, part of a 13-week value-added content that I'm providing to all my contacts on LinkedIn, really. So all those connections I've been making over the years. It's my way of saying thank you to you guys and adding a bit of value. As you know, my forte is lead generation, and for the last couple of years, I've been quite active in terms of generating leads for other people and also for myself. So this week on the LinkedIn Masterclass, we're going to be looking at priming your personal profile. And just to put a bit of framework and put it into a bit of context, I'm going to share a couple of diagrams with you this morning. So these are very new, hot off the press. As you know, you may have seen this. This is a marketing funnel. And if we want to attract customers or prospects to our business or service, we need to get ourselves out there. So we need awareness. And this ties in really nicely because obviously LinkedIn is a huge platform to give you that awareness. Okay. And today's talk on updating your personal profile on LinkedIn is going to really cut into this. As soon as you've, so the reason we need awareness obviously is to gather interest. So we're going to get people who are resonating with the content, resonating with our LinkedIn profiles, and then they go down this funnel to the next stage on, which is consider. And that's where they think, right, you know, what credibility is there? Is this guy going to deliver what he wants? You know, and then as a result of it, you get that purchase, and that's the conversion stage in the towards the bottom end of the funnel. And then obviously, once you've got a client on board, you retain them, you deliver them, delight them, and then that affects them, more customers coming towards you. So it attracts more customers. You may have come across the flywheel effect, which is kind of a similar, but slightly different model. And this model looks like a little bit like this. So we attract the customers at the start, we engage with them, we delight them, and then they advocate for us. So they shout about how good their experience has been with us. And then that leads to a repeat cycle. So more people come into the top of that funnel again. So that's just a bit of context, a couple of methodologies which I've created this week. So they're hot off the press. I have been busy. So we've got a little slideshow that we're going to run through this morning, and a few little websites that I'm going to click through as well. So apologies if there's a bit of clicking around, but here goes. So we'll keep those methodologies open just so I can refer to them later. And share screen. So this is the keynote presentation that we're going to run on today. Setting up your LinkedIn profile. So everything you need to know, we're going to cover as much detail as we can for the next kind of 30 minutes or so, to make sure your LinkedIn profile is spick and span. So two main takeaways from this little webinar today that I'm doing. Before we get started, we're just going to look at what LinkedIn is, how familiar you are with it, and answer some of the basic questions like, number one, why should you look at it as a new channel of communication between you and your leads? So that's one of the key principles here. I was talking to a client yesterday, and he was talking about communication, how his life has been revolved around communication. Communication is so important in today's society, and doing it with clarity is great. And the next thing we're going to look at is how to optimize that profile and get it ready for lead generation. Yeah, so there's quite a few stages involved today. So what we're going to learn over the next half an hour is how your profile picture should look. And I'm not kind of preaching from the pulpit here. I'm not perfect in terms of my LinkedIn profile. I've never hit the 99 scores and things, but I'm going to hopefully give you some top tips and advice around, you know, how you might be able to improve that yourself. And we'll go into that in a bit of detail. But yeah, you can look at my LinkedIn profile, and, you know, I need to apply a lot of this learning to my own profile. So yeah, hands up in the air. I'm probably one of the worst when it comes to maintaining my LinkedIn profile quite regularly. Number two, we're going to look at how we can be a bit more creative in terms of writing that profile summary. And I'll actually introduce you to a couple of AI tools that might be able to help you reword that profile if it's not quite flowing correctly yet. There's some great tools out there that can do that for you. And all the things that you can do when you have an all-star profile. So LinkedIn, as you start on, there's little stars that you need to complete, and that's as your profile is complete. And we're going to learn a lot more. Another thing that we might touch on is the SSI score, which is the social selling index. That's kind of the algorithm that runs in the back of LinkedIn. So I might pick up on that towards the end. So LinkedIn, basically it can be used for a variety of purposes. A lot of people use it for finding a new job opportunity. Others use it for generating new leads for their business or organization. So Leadeth, that's my business. That's actually a sales engagement platform, and that focuses on helping its clients to generate leads with ease. And so they haven't got to waste time in LinkedIn on a daily basis. They can just set up a campaign and it's generating them the leads. And that's what Leadeth's all about. So when I started Leadeth back in 2019, I mainly focused on LinkedIn outreach, but actually that's kind of grown a bit more now. And email outreach complements LinkedIn so well. And then if you've got a content strategy, which is, I could bring up my, let me just show you the roadmap for Leadeth quickly. Stop share. Here we go. We've got methodologies. This is the roadmap. I'll just show you a quick snippet of my roadmap. So yeah, so we identify the target audience. So we looked at that last week in the session in terms of different strategies about where to find that audience. So watch back on the YouTube channel to last week's session if you want to tune into that one. This week we're looking at priming your personal profile. So every week I'm going to pick up on an element of this roadmap. But this is kind of like the roadmap which my paid clients are kind of on this journey, and I guide them through them, guide them with them on this journey. So LinkedIn outreach automation, we've got the email outreach element. And then we've got video content marketing, which is adding, 13 pieces of content on a cycling, weekly cycling. And then that content creates engagement. And then on the back of that engagement, we can then direct people to appointments and things like that. So the element 6 there is all about setting appointments and getting your calendar filled with appointments from all these leads. So yeah, so that's just a bit about the roadmap there. I'm going to go back into the slide deck quickly. I told you it'll be a bit chippy and choppy today. So there we go. What's LinkedIn and why is it important? So LinkedIn has turned into this, powerhouse. It's now got an incredible 850 million users all around the globe. So in terms of niching down and finding your right prospects, it's a very powerful tool to really find them. And you're going straight to that decision maker. You're not going to the gatekeeper as you would traditionally with traditional sales lead generation methods. Cold email, the only trouble with cold email is, of course, is there's deliverability issues quite often. And also the whole process is just very slow. To get a response back to an email can take, a day or two, and then they get the next email and it's just very slow. Whereas LinkedIn messages, you're kind of on tap with the CEO of a huge organization. And that is just creates just a huge opportunity very quickly. A little stat here that came from Influence Marketing, which just shows 42.8% of LinkedIn's user base is actually female, and 57.7 is a male. So bit of a difference there, but just so you know that for your target demographics and things. A few clients have come to me and looked for kind of women only groups on LinkedIn, so they can just target a female audience, and that is possible. LinkedIn do have an option to specify what your gender, and I think in a couple of years of time that's going to be a part of their targeted data in Sales Navigator. You'll be able to target by gender, I think, but we've been waiting for that feature. So moving on, LinkedIn, it's a professional social networking platform, and its aim is to help you build up your network of connections. And there's lots of degrees of connections. You have a first degree, so that's someone that you are now connected with, and then you've got your second degree, someone that they know, and then you've got your third degree, which is someone very cold, no mutual connections between you. So yeah, if you're looking for a job, it's a great tool for that as well. I found a couple of jobs in the past through the platform. When I became a membership advisor for the FSB, that job was a posted ad on LinkedIn. Applied for that job, and that's how I got the job. So yeah, don't disregard its power in terms of the job side. So it all started back in 2003. So I'm just trying to work out how old I would have been then. But I've only been a user since probably about 2010. So that puts me about 12 years as a user on LinkedIn. And yeah, its main purpose was to host your CV or your resume online. Two decisions that changed the platform forever. And that was in 2006, LinkedIn released their public profile feature. That was a game changer for them. And then in 2008, LinkedIn went global, and actually it's owned by Microsoft now. It went global. So how do you know LinkedIn is right for you, and why should you even bother starting to put time and effort into your LinkedIn profile? So think about your target audience. If you're B2B, LinkedIn is predominantly a B2B network. So it's that business-based audience is on the platform. So whether you're looking to find a new job, generate leads, or just, you want to just grow that network, LinkedIn is the platform for you. You'll probably notice there's not so many cat images and things like that on LinkedIn. So there is kind of like a bit of a professional etiquette that goes on with LinkedIn. Some people, still put that content out there, and if they're in your feed, you'll find that. But you can actually set your feed up and control a lot of that sort of content, so you're just seeing what you need to see. So LinkedIn was initially created to help people connect with other professionals in the same industry and to give them recommendations. And that's a huge piece of LinkedIn. So on your profile page, you'll have a recommendation section where you can ask people to review you or leave comments on feedback if they're previous clients, or you've worked with someone in a professional capacity. And that really just adds that credibility, gives you that visibility you need. So it's great. And it's a great tool for Google, because Google's crawling all the LinkedIn data and profiles. And, if you do a search on LinkedIn and it's mentioned in someone's profile, that's going to put them out on the search criteria. So it's important you complete your profile as much as you can. LinkedIn is great for anyone that's fresh out of university or anything like that, looking to start a job. It's good for you. And it's worth investing in your profile because it might just land you that dream job you're looking for. So with LinkedIn, you can do a few things. Number one, you can connect with the world, and that's going to help you to keep up to date with your friends, your classmates, your colleagues, to know what's going on in their careers and vice versa. Secondly, it is, as I say, it is one of the most powerful lead generation tools out there at the moment. A lot of people say it's very old technology, and it's like 5 years ago, it was great for lead generation. It's not anymore. I'm seeing leads coming into my business quite regularly, and I'm able to convert them into clients. And it is a fantastic fantastic tool for lead generation. Certainly if you're B2B, that's your audience, they're right there. Thirdly, it helps you to build up your personal brand. So you can look like the fount of knowledge, or the influencer of your industry as you build up this audience, and it helps you to do that. So it's a tool that's really good at kind of building up personal brands. But the most important thing that you need to do now is to build up your network. And that's why I love, the automation tools that I use within Leadeth is they're constantly, as I speak now, my automation is running in the background, liking people's profiles, connecting with them, and adding them to my network. So I've got a wider audience. And it's great. If you can do that on autopilot, it really helps you to have a bigger reach. So earlier I mentioned the degrees of connection, just to put it into a bit of perspective. So you've got your first degree connections, they're the green ones that are connected to you. Then you've got the second degree network, they're the yellow ones. And then you've got your third degree connections, who are the red ones on that circle. So just a little diagram there so you could understand it. So obviously if there's someone in a third degree connection, it's very hard to connect to them because there's no mutual connections. They're thinking, who is the stranger? It can work and people do connect still, but it's much easier to connect to these second degree networks. So that's like you've got a mutual connection. So if I connect to my next door neighbor, I can then connect to people he knows, and they might be in my third degree connection, but because I've got that connection already, it helps me to then find those third degree connections easier. And LinkedIn will suggest people that you can connect to as well. So having these mutual connections are vital, and that helps you to then try and connect with other people. As I say, remember that the person that you have in common, they can introduce you and help you to both expand your network. So it could be you're looking for strategic partners in your business. Great way, if you can find someone that is connected or loosely connected, go to that person, ask them for an introduction. LinkedIn, the free version of LinkedIn's got 15 filters that allow you to find people that you can connect with. And then when you subscribe to Sales Navigator, there's more filtering that can be done there. That £80 a month subscription, it's free for 30 days, completely unlocks what you're doing with LinkedIn. So it's time to add some life to your personal profile. We're going to pimp up our personal LinkedIn profiles and really get them flying. And if you want any feedback on your personal profile, I'm more than happy to have a look, and I give you some suggestions, and welcome the feedback for my own profile, please. So we're going to start with the personal profile picture. This is probably the one single most important thing that you can do on any social media site, let alone LinkedIn. So that you've got to make sure you've got a clear view of your face. So people get to know who they're getting in contact with. I've seen clients and their profile picture on LinkedIn is actually like a company logo. I mean, people buy from people. People don't buy from company logos they don't recognize, or brands that they've got no awareness of yet. So it's really important that you make sure you've got a picture, personal profile of you. Keep it simple, clear and concise is the name of the game here. And when we look at that, I'm just going to show you a couple of examples. So adding a bit more life to your profile in this image here, you can see the guy, he's in a more of a casual look, but he's pulling a bit of a fist pump style stance. So you can be a bit quirky. There's obviously a cutaway, and he's added the blue background there, which is what I've adopted recently on my profile. Before we go on to the cover image, I'm just going to show you a couple of tools that are absolutely awesome at LinkedIn profiles. So take a look at this website. I'll leave a link to this in the description. And this is called Photo Feeler. It's a little bit like years ago, there used to be a site called Hot or Not, where you would rate the appearance of someone, hot or not, and then you get another picture flashes up, hot or not. But it's actually done in a business context rather than a dating kind of context. And you can upload your personal profile picture. So I've uploaded my first one here. And we go into that, and other people can then vote on your LinkedIn profile, whether you appear competent, whether you appear likable, or whether you appear influential from your photo. And people can actually make notes on it. So they can comment with some presets, or they can make up their own. So you can see what some people have written about my old personal profile. Just to put it into context, this first photo I took myself with I had a pretty good camera at the time, and I've got a backdrop behind me. That was a fabric backdrop. Lighting wasn't perfect. It was just in my office, and I kind of knocked it up, did it myself. But what's really interesting is when you kind of leverage the skills and abilities of a professional photographer. I'm talking someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to portrait photography, knows about lighting, knows about your ISO and your bokeh effects in the background and all of that sort of clever stuff. When you start to adopt those guys, this is what happens. I'll just go back. So this is my own photo. 8, 7, and 8. When I put a professional headshot on, suddenly I got a 9. That went up by competency, went up by a whole 1. Likeable went up to 9 from 7, so up 2 points on the likeable, and influential went up from 8.1 to 9.7. So wow, and that's the same number of votes, 107 votes. So it's remarkable. I mean, this is a photo I had taken of me when I was at a conference, and there was a photographer there, all kitted out, ready to do photos, and it was just a nice headshot that I had at the time. I'm wearing exactly the same clothing, yet I've managed to achieve a lot more, a lot higher scores. And you can take this to a whole new level. Obviously, you've got to, some people don't are quite self-conscious, and you just got to get over that thing. Get yourself photographed and just get yourself on there. Put yourself out there. So there's another tool which I'm going to introduce, and that's called Snappr. So Snappr. This is actually these are all free tools that you can just sign up to and use, and we'll share the link to Snappr as well. So Snappr. You can sign in with your LinkedIn profile and it automatically analyze your LinkedIn headshot profile. And it scores it out of 100 based on a lot of scientific metrics in terms of portrait photos. So my score was 78 out of 100. Yeah, not 100, but it's fine. I'm happy with it. Again, I took that photo myself, so I didn't really have, there's no kind of key light as such. So it's just natural kind of lighting here in the office when I took it. All very rushed. But if you scroll down here, what you can start to see is some of the metrics. So your smile, believe it or not, you can have a good smile, you can have a good jawline, you can have a good squinch with the eyes. This is kind of really technical. So actually, when it analyzes the photo, you can see little grid lines appearing over your face where it's doing all the analysis. But within a matter of seconds, it spits out some really useful tips on how to make that better. So my smile, for example, I'm showing too much teeth apparently. So it says keep showing your teeth, but close the gap to make things perfect and raise the corners of your mouth. So yeah, so this will hopefully help you. Composition, so the rule of thirds, I've got perfect on that one. Because I'm kind of not center, I'm kind of slightly offset. So if I was, this camera's quite annoying because it actually follows me, but you have this rule of thirds. So you split your computer up into 9 boxes, your screen into 9 boxes. And ideally you want your eye to land on one of the crosshairs on one of the boxes. So if I've got 2 grid lines coming down here, 2 grid lines coming across, I need to be kind of in the third section on an eye. And that apparently is kind of where it deems is perfect. Obviously, what I don't think they understand is that LinkedIn is actually like a circle. So kind of it puts you kind of offset in the circle. So I'm kind of, I'm not convinced by that theory, but here we go. Editing. Yep. So making sure you've got the right exposure levels in your photo. So my contrast in that photo is really bad. They'd like to see a bit more punch and clarity between light and dark. So things like that will really help it. Yeah. So, yeah, the website also encourages you to book a professional headshot as well. So, but yeah, check it out, snappr.com. Great little tool to further improve your professional headshot on LinkedIn. Okay, another screen share switch. So we're just going to go back to the LinkedIn notes here. And this is about the captivating cover image. So that big chunk of block, that's the first thing that people are going to come to when they visit your LinkedIn profile. And here's an example I found from, LinkedIn, a LinkedIn profile. This is the CEO of General Motors, so Ford Motor Group, and she's got our electric future is now. So a bit of a strap line there as well if you want to incorporate that into what you're doing. Great, but it just kind of, obviously her agenda is all about electrifying vehicles and that sort of stuff. So that's really cool. So there's no real kind of right or wrong way of using this cover image. Just make sure it's aesthetically pleasing. It's got to be on point, and you just really want to take your time when you're creating it. There's some fantastic tools out there to create the professional headshot photo. Tools like Canva. Canva knows the size and the dimensions of the headshot. Okay, just be careful. Obviously, it overlays a little your profile photo over the top of that banner. On mobile, that works a little bit differently. So test it on mobile, test it on LinkedIn once you've uploaded it, just to make sure it is looking good. I've seen a lot of client profiles and a lot of text is cut off. It's kind of cut off under the photo. So just make sure all the information is there and it's clear. With this photo here, he's gone for a, we'll make you a LinkedIn influencer with engaging content and outreach to drive sales. So he's got his call to action, what he does there as the main thing. Personally, I think there's quite a lot going on here. It's a little bit messy. There's a lot of logos and brands he's worked with, possibly. Yeah, follow me. He's got his Insta socials and all of that. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. What I think he's done here is almost like create like a YouTube header, because he's also got hit the bell. Hit the bell. We don't have a bell on LinkedIn as such. That's a YouTube thing. So I reckon he's used his YouTube header and just chucked it on LinkedIn. But yeah, so a bespoke header for LinkedIn can make all the difference. Don't forget to customize your profile URL. So this is so easy to do, but so many people don't do it. So what you can actually do is go to this web address here, linkedin.com /public profiles public hyphen profile /settings. And within there, you can then change the profile link. So mine is http linkedin.com/in, that's everyone's. And then you have a handle. So I'm comalex, COMMALEX. Before I changed my handle, it was alex.smith6985431 and had loads of characters in it, which you would never remember. So try and grab a really short, pertinent handle to your name or your profile or your brand. And that's going to help you to be found in LinkedIn searches easier. And it's just easy to remember. If you're in a Zoom call and you want someone to go to your LinkedIn profile, it's a really handy tool just to get them there quick. So there's that's mine, linkedin.com/in, comalex. Okay. We're going to talk about headlines. Headlines are it's after the profile photo, and the headline is probably more important than the header graphic, I would say. In fact, I probably should change my slide order. But here goes. The headline is what people see when they come to your profile. And often when you're in a LinkedIn message and you send a prospect an invitation, they'll get a snippet of your headline, if not all of the headline as well. Quite often, if you hover over somebody, it will come up with their headline as well. So it's seen in a lot of different areas on LinkedIn, and it's vital that you get the information right. If you don't put anything there, by default, LinkedIn just takes your last job. So it could be managing director at ABC company, and that's a bit generic. It doesn't tell people much about what you do. And that's the beauty of this headline. We've got, I think it's around about 300 characters or so to really sell yourself in this headline. This is going to be a brief introduction to your LinkedIn profile and who you are in general. And it's great to get your personality across in that space. So three reasons this is important. Number one, it serves to attract people to your profile. So obviously it's all to do with that algorithm. People search for keywords on LinkedIn. If that keyword is found in your headline profile, they're going to find you. Okay. So in terms of being found and visibility, put plenty of stuff in this headline. Secondly, it's basically it helps others to really understand the basics about who you are. Okay. And thirdly, it keeps them interested in you or the business. So if it's just a dull MD title, on with the next one, they're not going to be interested. Whereas if you kind of give them a quick punchy headline and it tells them a bit more about yourself and how you can help others, they're going to be interested and want to scroll down below that fold. So a few quick facts, some things that you need to know about the headline. Okay, it's the text that's located right underneath your profile picture on LinkedIn. Okay, and it's also displayed next to your name whenever you pop out in a search, which I mentioned earlier. Limited to 220 characters at the moment. So sorry, I was wrong with my 300 count. It's actually 220. And the keywords that I mentioned earlier, that makes it a whole lot easier for people to find you. So there's two ways that you can go about creating your headline. The first way is to imagine you're talking to somebody and you want to let them know what you're about in 2 simple sentences. If you can do that, you've cracked it, you've nailed it. Some people what they do is very complicated. There's a guy who, in one of my networking groups, and he works in IT. A lot of people just don't understand or don't get his business. So think about how you can simplify the language. Pretend a 7-year-old is looking at your LinkedIn profile and use language that a 7-year-old will understand. A lot of people go in for, big, long corporate words, which are just so boring. Keep it super simple. Clarity is the key here. Secondly, you can also use this headline to try and kind of sell yourself to someone. And you can do that by creating something catchy. Now, there's a magic formula that a lot of people use in terms of headlines. And as you start to look at people's profiles, you'll start to see the pattern unfold. And this pattern looks a little bit like this. So think of it, XYZ mathematical formula, 3 different variables that you need in your LinkedIn headline. X is going to be your ideal prospect or your target. Who are you looking to chat to or target? If it's an accountant, start with that. I help accountants. I help stressed out accountants. So what's the outcome that you provide? How do you help them? What's that big goal? I mean, I help people save time and money through using automation on LinkedIn, or generate a sales pipeline with leads and stuff like that. So it's, what is the tangible outcome that you're going to help them? So have a think about that. You know, what is the solution that you bring to that problem that they might be having? So Z, the service or product that you offer that helps your prospect reach the ideal outcome. And that's to do with how you go about delivering it, you know. So if it's a software approach, you can mention, you know, I help business owners be less stressful and manage their time better. And the outcome, so that's the outcome, you've got it. And then how do you do it? Through a 12-week coaching program or whatever it is. So it's quite clearly you've helped that specific audience, how you do it. Okay, here's a couple of examples. So I turn overworked executives into successful business owners. Call to action here, DM me to learn how, or follow for daily content, mentor to millionaires, transition queen. I'm not sure where I found that one, but there we go. Here's another one. I do Z to help X do Y. So we're just changing the order, but it's the same content. Enabling enterprise companies to optimize results through digital experimentation and personalization. There you go. There's a lot of long words. I can't even say them. It's just like, woo. Simplicity. I mean, if your audience is exactly people who are going through that, then yeah, okay, those sorts of words can be great. But for, you know, if you're targeting kind of is more of a generalist approach, then keep the language nice and simple. So feel free to mix and match it. So this one here, I got 151 professionals into high earning tech jobs within a year. You're next. I like that one. So we've got the professionals as the X, and the Y is obviously they're not in jobs and they're then going into jobs. And I love it how it mentions me. So you're next, and that's great. Engaging with the reader, that's really good. So in that headline, try to add a bit of value if you can, and that's really going to help you kind of stand out. So the about section, that's the next section on your LinkedIn profile, and that's a summary of all the things that you do. So think about it as a blank page, and you get to write about everything that makes you you. I'll show you my example at the end here, but why is this important, the about section? Because it tells people a bit more detail, so they get to go below the fold and find out a bit more nutty information about you, sort of on a granular level. Helpful for prospects or recruiters to get know you quicker, and also it can help promote your business like never before. So you can actually have like static articles that sit there at the top of your profile. You can have links that push out to your company website. It could be that you have a kind of lead magnet, or you want people to, you can call them to an action or book a call. You can automate that whole step by having these links in there, so they haven't got to hunt around the information and find it. Make it clear, and you can add an image to do that. So some things that you need to know. This is a bit like telling a story. I don't know if you've read, a good book that I've read recently is this one. This is building a story brand. It's all about, you know, clarify your message so customers will listen. A book by Donald Miller. Fantastic book. It's really inspired me over the last couple of years. I can't remember who introduced it to me, but thanks. It's really good. He talks about a story brand framework, and that's basically like you're the main character of the story and you're a guide. You help them to not fail but succeed, and it kind of spells out that whole journey for them. So use this area here to tell a story. Use as many keywords as possible in the about section, because that's going to help with those searches again on LinkedIn. And there is a limitation to 2,600 characters on that about box. So it's just like a bigger headline space, which you can use on your LinkedIn profile. So fill it out. If it's blank, you know, you're wasting, you know, there's huge opportunities of people getting in touch with you here. So don't leave it blank. So you've got the creative freedom to put anything you want in that about box, but that doesn't mean that you should. So be choosy about what goes in there. That's kind of like the end of that slideshow deck. So we've just looked at that LinkedIn profile, how we can optimize your headshot, the header banners, and all that bio information and stuff. So go away, implement some of that. Check out the tools, Snappr.com and Photofila. There's some great tools. And then I'm just going to do a little quick presentation here on my sales engagement tool. Last week's session, we looked at how to find 4 free sources of leads using LinkedIn. And I also use the Apollo data tool as well, which is fantastic. Just a quick overview. So this is the Leadeth tool. And this is part of a service that I offer. I can either do it for you, or you can just subscribe to the software tool and do it all yourself, and I'll guide you through. But what this tool does is it automates the process of you connecting with people on LinkedIn. And it's basically, imagine it like a funnel. We're getting the leads from LinkedIn, and we're driving them through this funnel of automated sequences and steps. So yeah, this is just absolutely fantastic tool. Here we go. So here's a campaign. You can see we've got a sales navigator search link, which is where I've added the prospects from. We've also got a CSV file, so we can actually upload CSV information. So it could be you're collecting data from your website, and that data on your website, it could be a free ebook, and then that's it. They might get one email, a follow-up email, and that's it. It's a wasted opportunity. If you could capture that bit of data of wherever that might be on your website, and if we can feed it into the Leadeth tool using APIs, which we can, so we can feed the first name, last name, company name, and a LinkedIn profile URL if you've got that. If not, we can enrich the data and get that. Then you can then send a connection request to that person, and you can send an automatic follow-up message. So for you, it might be they've downloaded a lead magnet or some sort of bit of information, or they've attended a webinar. And then on the back of that, you can then connect with them on LinkedIn and say, hey, I noticed you downloaded the bit of content from me last week, just reaching out to you, see if you wanted to connect. And we're moving them down that funnel from awareness to interested. And ideally, we want them interested so they can, have a chat with you about the services and products that you offer. So this particular campaign here, this is one that I've been working on to target marketing directors. It all starts at the top of the funnel. Very simple, this one. We visit their profile page on autopilot, and we specify the times of day that this happens. So I do it between 8 a.m. and typically about 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. So it's kind of a good 8-hour window when all this is going on. So I could be broadcasting, doing lives, and in the background, my profile is visiting people now as we speak. And that's what it's about. I mean, you've got to work smarter. You've got to use these kind of automation technologies to your advantage. I've not mentioned AI as well. So basically, on that profile stuff, if you've already written a profile, I forgot to mention it earlier on, you can chuck that through things like open AI. So ChatGPT is the big one everyone's raving about and talking about. It's an open source AI, artificial intelligence word generator. And you basically command it to rewrite stuff for you in different tones or to a different audience. And it can basically do it all for you. And then you can copy and paste it, make a few tweaks if you want, just to reword stuff. So it's a really good tool. Check that one out as well. I might pop that in the links as well below. But going back to this automation campaign, what we're looking at here is an automated message where we send them a video, and that's a personalized video overlaid over their profile. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Once they get the video request, they go to a website and they click the video. If they don't respond to me, I wait a day, and then they get an automatic follow-up message. And we can actually go down this stage now, their follow-up email sequence. We can see if they've got a work email address, a personal email address. So it's 2 approaches. You've got LinkedIn messages, and you've got outbound email as well. So you've got, that's 2 completely different touch points. If you throw in a phone call into the mix, and that's not something I'm good at. I'm hopeless on the phone. You're very fearful. I probably ought to do a course to kind of get over the I don't know what it is about phones, but people hate them. People hate picking them up and talking to people. But it is just a phone, and what's the worst could happen? if you add a stage in your sales pipeline or your sales process to pick up the phone and have a chat with a lead or a prospect, I'm guaranteed there's probably some really geeky stats out there about how that increases the the chances of conversion. So yeah, adding that into a mix would help really well. So just to show you, cancel. Just going to show you this, the video messaging tool here. So I'll go to my inbox. There we go. So my last message here, which I've just sent 16 hours ago. So this is a campaign where I've targeted a prospect who's local to me. And I've sent this message, hey, Lizzie, check out my video message. It takes them to a web link. They click on that web link, and this has all been pre-configured, and it just goes on autopilot. So I haven't got to worry. But what we're looking at here is actually a video. You probably can't hear the audio. Thank you for all your support over 2022. Just to let you know, I've now launched a brand new LinkedIn lead generation done for you service. So it's me introducing my latest service. It's less than a minute long. It's about 30 seconds, and it's scrolling over the top of their LinkedIn profile. So when they come to this landing page, they can see them, and straight away they're thinking, hey, this guy has gone to some amazing efforts in producing a personalized video for me. So yeah, personalized video in LinkedIn works really well. Get a really good level of engagement, gets people talking, drive them straight down, call to action, book an appointment, okay? And then they'll get follow-up emails, follow-up text messages, and it's and that's the whole system, and it just works brilliantly. So if you're not doing this already, really encourage you to. We've covered a lot of ground today in terms of LinkedIn profiles and what we're up to over at Leadeth. It'd be great for you to tune into our session next week, where we're going to look at the next step, and that is looking at that LinkedIn marketing funnel in a bit more detail. So looking at every stage is looking at the message copy to help you out with all of that. So tune in next Tuesday. It's going to be on exactly the same Zoom link if you want to participate in the session. It's a bit more fun when there's more people in the sessions. But thank you so much for joining me on this live recording.